Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, this is Vahinistry, faculty and branch head of Kingmakers IAS Academy.
Yes.
So, first of all, on behalf of Kingmakers IAS Academy and founder and chairman, managing director, Mr. Bhuminathan sir, I congratulate on the success of Mr. Lavesh Verma, who have secured the All India rank 909 in UPSC 2025. And also, we are very happy and overwhelmed that Kingmakers is also be a part of your success part by providing PTGP program. So, congratulations, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Fine, sir. So, let's start with the journey of your UPSC preparation. Like, how you have started, like, which breakthrough you had to enter into this field, sir?
Ma'am, I started my preparation during the COVID period initially. When I was in my college, I have done my college from NLU Delhi. From then, I started slowly. In the starting, I do not have a reading habit. So I started by reading some basic non-fiction books like India After Gandhi by R.C. Guha and some history books. Then slowly I build up, and initially I focused on self-study. But later on, I found out that I was not very productive in that, and I was taking too much time understanding the basic concepts. So I resorted to coaching after completing my graduation, and thereafter I did my coaching, and then I gave my attempt in 2024 onwards.
Okay, okay, nice. So, you have cleared, I think, the third attempt, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. It was my third attempt.
Okay, so please tell us that about the time travel from first attempt to the third attempt.
Uh, Ma'am, in the first attempt I gave, it was in 2023. It was in my final year in my college. At that time, I was not prepared, but I decided I would give this attempt to have experience and to know the depth of the exam. And in that, I was destroyed, literally destroyed by 2023 paper because the pattern was changed in that year only. In 2024, ma'am, however, I was scoring 100 in the prelims, but I did mistake in filling the OMR sheet at that time. One of my segments got wrong, and therefore I could not qualify the cutoff. But later on in 2025, I work on my mistakes and did the static part solid. And then thereafter, I scored 100.66 in the prelims exam in 2025. So I was comfortably qualified the prelims in 2025 this year.
Okay, okay, fine, sir. So, what made you to clear in the third attempt? You have learned some lesson from first two attempts, right, sir? So,
Yes,
how you
ma'am.
got through that?
Ma'am, it was more of an introspection part in which you have to identify that and what areas you are lacking. Like when I realize now in 2024 attempt, I do not have a solid grip on subjects like economy and science and tech. But in the 2025 attempt, these subjects have become my strength point. Earlier only I was my strength points were polity and geography, but later on, geography, polity, economy, and science and tech, this became my strength. So whenever the question came, even if I was guessing the answer, I have a hint behind it, have a logic behind it while marking it. So the probability of getting that answer increases. So this get over the time by reading it and reading the material again and focusing on more on the static part.
So, lot of your revision you have got through, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Lot of revision.
So, could you please help the aspiring community how
Mhm.
long the revision is needed, how many times the revisions are needed?
And I think there is no limit to revision. One should do as many revision as possible before the exam, whether it is before prelims or mains. The focus should be more on the coaching's material with respect to whether it's prelims or mains. Because, for example, if I am giving up prelims, then whatever material my coaching institute have provided or any other from any other sources which I am reading, that won't be sufficient. If I am solving 100 questions booklet test series for prelims, then there are 100 question specific questions which the coaching institute have invested time in framing that 100 questions. So I would go through that and I would specifically go through the answer of that 100 questions. I will find many of the things which I do not know, and that would be my validation for prelims. And the same pattern I follow for the mains. So this can be one of the approach for validation, which can help you in the prelims as well as in mains.
Okay, okay, good, sir. So you have relied more on coaching academies notes than basic books, right, sir?
No, ma'am, I have relied on basic books, but for validation, I have mostly relied on the coaching material, test material especially.
Oh, okay, okay, fine, sir. So, kindly share your prelims book list, sir. So, what is the importance of NCRTs? Should
Ma'am,
all aspirants need to read
ma'am,
that
act-
and all
ma'am,
NCRTs?
actually, I have escaped the NCRT part. I have read that in the COVID period itself only, and I found that I was comfortable in it. So I skipped the NCERT part totally. With respect to polity, I did not touch Lakshmikant because I have a law background, so I have a grip on that subject. I just relied on the coaching notes and did the validation later on with the test series. With respect to geography, again I did the same. I relied mostly on the coaching material and then did the validation online, online notes and materials. Then for environment, I have looked upon some various aspects, but not NCRTs again for this one, uh, and relied on the coaching notes only for this. Then for science and tech, ma'am, I would say that coaching material is not sufficient. You have to just grab the static part. You can do that from any static book or any coaching material if you want. After that, you have to go through the basic technology which is coming in that year or any inventions or any other things, etc., which are coming in that year. You have to focus more on that part. After that, then, ma'am, for economy, I would say, ma'am, one should, if his or her background is not from economic or has no interest or have a less interest in economy, then one should definitely go for coaching for economy specifically because economic concept requires more of an understanding part. It cannot be done by rote learning. So for that part, I focus more on the coaching part for economy especially. And I have read one and two books for economy, but I could not understand the concepts as a whole. That got me through uh, that the coaching material helped me, and the teachers in the for economy helped me in that part for understanding the economic concept.
Yes, sir. Good. So, how did you approach current affairs like in a daily manner? Newspaper is a crucial part of the preparation, or what your stance, or monthly magazine is fine.
Ma'am, actually, I did not read any of that. I only did newspaper for my PT, personal personality test. Before that, I relied on the coaching test series only because, ma'am, in the monthly magazine also, the issue lies that any monthly magazine, if you are following of any coaching institute, it is around of 100 plus pages, and for months it gets piled up. So it's not really practical to revise them, and every human, I believe, ma'am, have a limited set of storage capability. So ma'am, what I did was I bring like a 30, 40 test of a full length test of any coaching institute, whichever I like. Then I just tear down the pages of the current affairs from the answer booklet, and I made my own compilation of that 200 300 pages of important current affairs, and I just revised them. And I find that that was quite more beneficial than reading the whole magazines again and again. As in 2025, I see that 3 to 5 portions were direct hit from that compilation which I have compiled myself from tearing down the pages from the test series. So I think this can be one of the approach if the aspirants found that reading magazine is taking too long and is not finding interestful, and as also the cost benefit aspect is also there. So this aspect can be looked upon, and this approach can be also followed.
Okay, okay, sir. So test series will be helped more, I think, right, sir? Your
Yes, yes,
okay.
ma'am.
So you will suggest like near to prelims we can join any test series or year-long test series we have to join.
Pardon, can you please repeat?
What will you advise to the aspirant communities that year-long test series is needed for them or near to prelims it is better to join any test series?
Ma'am,
Prelims
for
test
me,
series.
for mains, ma'am, I would recommend that a year-long test is very beneficial because writing practice gets strengthened over the period of time and it requires a year-long practice of writing. But with respect to prelims, ma'am, I would suggest that just before the prelims, 3 to 4 months before the prelims, one can join the test series. And
Okay,
for the
okay.
rest of the period, should focus on the mains part.
Okay, okay, fine, sir. So 2025 question paper had more NCRT based questions. How did you realize that, or you regret that I didn't revise NCRTs, or it was handled good by you, like through test series, it was handled smoothly?
Ma'am, I think the part where the NCRT statements are there, I have not read NCRT, and I have read that in the COVID period only. And from geography, many of the statements came from the directly from the NCRT. But when I found that if you have a basic concept understanding of the concept across the subjects, then you can easily solve the questions. Whether you have read the statement earlier or not, that does not matter. Then that thing worked for me also. I have a basic understanding of the geographical concepts, and because of which I was able to solve that questions. And also, ma'am, in geography, I would suggest one should have a command of the static component, physical geography part, especially with respect to world geography, because now the questions are coming from that area. So if you are, if two questions are also coming in that year, and you're able to element two options by your static physical geography knowledge, then you increase your probability of getting to the right answer. So
Okay, so
this way the absurdity of the paper can be reduced.
fine, fine. Good. So, have you taken any notes from NCRT? Like, all people are suggesting that NCRT notes are very important in the basic. So, will you suggest that?
Ma'am, initially I made the NCRT notes in the COVID period, but I have not read them. I find that they were too basic. I in the preparation period I made them, but I found that were not very useful to me because the order in which I made them were not working for me. So I relied on only on the coaching parts, ma'am.
So, I think it was so simple for you, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. So
NCRTs.
I would suggest, ma'am, NCRT are very basic book. Rather than making notes out of it, one should rather more focus on understanding the concept which are given in it.
Good, good. So, is there any guessing technique in prelims you have used, or do you think that still we can use that in upcoming prelims too? After 2026, I think you have gone through that paper.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So, I'm asking about guessing technique.
Ma'am, I think guessing technique won't work now, ma'am. I think that is an overrated thing now. It is a thing of past. But ma'am, I would suggest one thing which works is that solving more and more questions with respect to prelims, because now it is not only on the knowledge based part. One should also have the critical and logical thinking in that given a period of time. For that to develop in that setup and the pressure time, one needs to practice more and more questions so that in that 2 hours when one is solving that 100 questions, one is able to approach the question more directly and logically and come to a statement or an option which has a higher probability of getting correct. For that to reach, one has to solve more and more questions and have to take a risk of taking an intelligent guessing also. That would come only from practice. It is not something that one day you will go and start marking questions. That won't happen.
Yeah. So, coming to the CSAT paper, how did you prepare? Like in daily manner, or have you joined in any coaching for that CSAT? How you feel that CSAT toughness? It is becoming tough, or it is good enough?
Surely, ma'am, it is becoming very tough now, and especially 2026 was tough, I think. My thing with respect to CSAT, ma'am, what I did was rather than solving CSAT every day, I took like 3 to 5 days and did only CSAT. I did not touch CSAT. Once I have solved all the topics of the CSAT, then I resort to solving the question paper with respect to coaching institute and PYQs. So this can be approached because when one tries to do CSAT on daily basis with GS, it gets like elongated over the period of time, and one is not really focusing on the CSAT part. So one should stop GS preparation for 2 3 days and focus only on the CSAT part. Then again resort to GS, and then after that one can resort to solving that. PYQs or any coaching tests with respect to CSAT. That can be an approach now.
Okay, so, coming to the mains part, how did you take a notes for mains? How did you handle the mains part?
Ma'am, actually, I made some notes before the prelims only with respect to mains, GS. But ma'am, then again, I would say that in the coaching tests were very helpful for me because the questions which are made on the themes, I covered them. I followed any one coaching institute and covered all the test series which were there from prelims to mains with respect to mains of all the GS papers. And I covered all the themes and extracted the substance from that answers, like any validation, any report, any case law, or any other thing which I found that I could add in my answers. So I just picked that up and added to my notes. And in the notes format, more focused on the part like if I'm talking on UCC, then I just wrote like for the introduction, I would start with Article 44. Then for the main body, pros, cons, then any committee reports and conclusion. What can be the in this format I made my notes so that if a question is coming, then I do not have to structure it. I just have to write. So this can
Oh,
be one of the format, and for validation the text material can be used.
so you took micro notes rather than macro notes, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So, and then which paper was very tough during your mains? Like, uh, how could I cross like that? You were thinking, right? Any paper,
Yes, ma'am.
what
Ma'am,
strategy you
actually,
had, and
ma'am, the toughest paper for me during the preparation was ethics, ma'am. I was not able to complete the paper itself only. I have the content, I have the knowledge, I have the understanding. I know that, but I was not able to complete the questions. When I was giving the ethics test in during the preparation period, in one of the paper I lost. I could not write around four questions, and the four questions which I wrote were only half. Like if that it was a 10 marker, I wrote only on the one part of the page. I just left the other part. So like these eight questions were compromised, and I realized that ethics paper is something which requires speed apart from understanding. So I practiced on that, and ma'am, luckily I scored 123 in ethics paper. And ma'am, with respect to other paper, I found that GS3 was my stronghold. I have the data, I have the credit, I have everything. I was batting good points, but somehow I scored 71, ma'am. So I think, ma'am, somehow it also required that the presentation part is also equally important. I found that my presentation part was not that good. So apart from the content you are writing, one should also focus on the presentation part, and that would improve by practicing and writing more. That can be a way, ma'am.
so you have said about the data, you were so strong in the data.
Hmm.
So have you
Yes,
taken the
ma'am.
notes on data in daily manner, or you again go for any coaching institute material?
Ma'am, actually, I relied on the toppers notes, micro notes. I just go through the to I just picked two three toppers notes, micro notes specifically, and just I just compiled them up and updated the data. The data was old. The reports are old for that year. I just updated it with the recent report. So in that way, ma'am, I was having important reports with the current data. So that data I use again in writing the exams answer, ma'am. This can be an
Oh,
approach because, ma'am, again, if you are starting from zero, then you have to work hard and pick the report that this report is important, this is not. So rather than doing that, just pick any toppers notes that are available online and just update that data and use that data directly into your answers.
okay. I have seen your DAF that your option is law and you are from law degree. So you have
Yes,
chosen law degree for option itself, or you have done degree after that only you have started
no,
UPSC
ma'am,
preparation.
no, ma'am. Actually, in initial years, it was not my plan to give UPSC, but it was in the later year. My initial plan was to do law and have a career in law itself only. But later on, ma'am, I shifted. So it was the law degree first, then UPSC came out.
Okay, okay. So how far the law option, in what way it helps to clear your exam?
I would say that if one is having have done a graduation in law, then he or she will be having wide knowledge across the subjects because one in a 5 year law degree, one is aware of the political science, then sociology, then law itself as a whole. Ma'am, these subjects help in understanding various other concepts. Like this helped me in the GS1 paper with respect to society. Like I have the critical understanding with respect to various issues. Uh, then in the GS2 paper, again the part is there. That helped me there. In the GS3 paper, I would say that it does not much. It is not of much help because GST paper is more of agriculture, economy, science, and that. So that part is not there. But again, I mean, GS4 paper ethics law is very helpful because with respect to writing any ethics answer, you can connect it with the legislations or any law. And legal morality is something that is also we write often in the ethics paper. So that connection can be established there. So if you have an understanding of law. So, ma'am, this way law preparation helped me across my GS paper. And also, ma'am, one advantage is that with respect to writing essays. In essays, often it is said that you have to do value addition. Ma'am, that when one is having understanding of law, I have done graduation in law. One can specifically link subjects with the legal implications. That is something not many aspirants can do. In that part also in that area also, ma'am, and as a law aspirant can fetch more marks than other aspirants in ASIA.
So, as a law degree holder, you might have inserted more cases. I think in ethics paper, while writing ethics, many cases might be reminded while writing this ethics. Have you
Uh,
used that so that
yes,
your
ma'am.
time management?
Yes, ma'am. I have quoted many cases, and to be specific, wherever a case can be tweeted, I have tweeted that case, ma'am. I just prepared for GS2. I have prepared a list of cases, case laws, topic wise. So when I found that this case can be linked here in ethics or GS2 or let's say GS1. I just fitted that because law is something you can apply everywhere across the GS paper. In GS1 also you can apply that in the society part. For example, any latest judgment is there or any old landmark judgment is there. So you can just cite that in the conclusion part or start with the introduction or in any point, for example, as a validation part. So just you can write that. So it will also give the invigilator, the examiner who is evaluating your copy a good look, a good impression.
Okay, sir. Okay. So, how did you take optional notes? Like, have you taken any optional written notes by yourself, or you have gone through the material of institute?
No, ma'am, with respect to law optional, I would say that coaching institutes are not really of help, ma'am, because law optional has a very wide syllabus. So one has to cover on its own. But ma'am, however, I think ma'am the repetition rate is high in the law optional. The questions repeat on the same themes after a certain set of years. So that pattern can be recognized and the notes can be made accordingly. However, while making the notes, one should make sure that law optional should be treated as a GS. Only you have to show the depth in that. The only difference lies there. For that part, you have to focus more on the understanding area and while making the notes, make in the format of introduction, then body, then conclusion, like one do in the GS part. So that because in the law option also you have to write 19 questions in 3 hours. So that is again a challenge. So
Okay.
when you are having a structured notes format, and so you will require less time to reproduce that in the real exam.
Okay. Okay. Super. So, did you change your option from the beginning? You have to take an law option, right, sir? Did you
Yes,
change
ma'am.
any? Did you change your option from the?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, fine. That much you love law option, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so good. So should the degree people have, so people having the same degree taking that as option need any practice for this exam, or they can prepare by themselves? What advice will you give?
I think if one has done a graduation in any subject and that subject is available as an option in UPSC, and I think, ma'am, one can prepare himself or herself. It is not one does not require a coaching for that. However, if one thinks that if, for example, my law degree was of 5 years, in 5 years you get lose touch on many subjects because it is a 5 year long degree. So many people opt for doing coaching again for law optional. But if your degree is not that long, it is of 3 years, let's say, then one can prepare himself or herself.
Okay, okay, super. So, apart from all, what perfect and simple mantra you have followed, and what must for every aspirant? in the upcoming exams? You will advise.
Ma'am, I think I've realized that over the years, it has been like from 2023 and before that I've been preparing. And I think I've been very hardworking with respect to my schedule routine and all that. But I think, ma'am, this exam requires more of a smart working than hard working. One should be really smart with respect to choosing content from where he or she is reading and how much time is devoted to any subject or any topic. These are something which needs to keep in mind. And also with respect to when reading any subject, in which topic one has to invest more time in. This all things are something which requires a smart approach. This is not something which requires a hard work. So, ma'am, this is something which one should categorize accordingly. If one is not able to, then I would suggest, ma'am, one should follow any topper who has done similar practice or have taken the same route, or any coaching which are guiding on the same, but not blindly following anyone, having a critical thinking aspect in themselves. This can be a way, ma'am.
Okay, okay, so good. So, how much time can any aspirant spare for this preparation per day? Per day.
Ma'am, I think it would vary. It depends on the person. Like, ma'am, in initial time, ma'am, I was not able to sit for more than 3 to 5 hours a day. But later on, after my college, I have been sitting for a minimum of 8 hours a day. That depends on the person, ma'am. Because if I'm sitting for 8 hours a day, and the another person is there who has more reading speed and who has more intelligence than me, then he can sit for 5 hours and do the same work which I'm doing in the 8 hours. So, ma'am, that varies, ma'am. I would say.
That's good. Okay. So, and then you have been a part of Kingmakers IAS Academy's PTGP program. We want to know how much it was useful to you.
Ma'am, I think it was quite useful because, ma'am, before the actual PT, one has to get one has to get hold of the pressure and the questions which are thrown directly at you. You have no clue about from various topic. Like it is like under the sun, any topic can be thrown at you. Apart from that, if the interviewer wants to. So that preparation can be done only through giving mocks, but not too many. I would say I have given too many mocks in my preparation, but to give a limited set of mocks, in that way it can help you, like while answering any absurd question which you have not solved of that it could be asked from me, or any knowledge gaps. The knowledge gaps are mostly exposed in mocks, but because many of times I was thinking that I knew everything, I have read and revised everything, but when I was giving mock, I realized that I lacked on many fronts. There was knowledge gap. I was not able to answer some abstract question that perfectly as I wanted to. Some these gaps can be covered in the mocks interview, and the only goal is to minimize all that. It is not like that you can just eliminate all these aspects. This can only be minimized so that on the final day of your PT, you give your best. So, ma'am, this PT with respect to the coaching, so I would say, ma'am, is very important. One should give it.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, this is from the aspirant community. The question is like, did you face any societal pressure in these 2 years of preparation? That how long it will take the preparation time? Like that, did you feel like that, and how you have tackled that?
I'm surely, ma'am, societal pressure is there, ma'am, but I would say, ma'am, I'm lucky that my parents did not made me feel that in that way. They always support me that do ever what you want to do, and they are giving me time, and they will have given me ample of time, ma'am, for that reason. So, ma'am, I did not listen to anyone. There are people, there are relatives, and there are some friends who will make that अभी तक preparation चल रही है and all that. Uh, but I think, ma'am, if you are preparing for something big enough, then you have to give time. It is not that like that it will happen in 1 year or 2 year or 6 months. It will take the required time. So, ma'am, one
Okay,
should
sir.
have that mental toughness.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. And then on random questions like after giving mocks from prelims or mains, whatever, uh, did it let down you? let it down, like what I say, like have you felt like whether we will surpass this field or not? I'll cross this stage. Whether you felt like that or not after giving mock results are low. If the marks are very low, means how you motivate yourself. This is the main issue in the aspirant community after giving mocks, after studying all the books and materials. They have got low marks. So after that, they will decide that whether I go for this prelims or not, I go for this mains or not, like that. So what advice will you give as a successful person?
I think setbacks are there, ma'am. Without setbacks, you won't improve. If there are no
Yeah.
setbacks, then how you are gonna improve, ma'am? And with respect to prelims in 2025, I did not face any major setbacks. I have given ample of mocks, so I knew that if I'm giving any mock, this is the minimum score which I'm going to get. If I'm attending this number of questions, that was because I have given like ample of mocks. I could not recall even. The estimate number is around 15 to 16,000 questions which I solved in for 2025 prelims, ma'am, to have that confidence of prelims. But ma'am, respect to mains, many of the times it happens with me, ma'am. I have given my best in any of the GS paper, but the marks which I got was not on par with that. So that is something which will be disappointing for any aspirant who is writing, because mains is sometimes very subjective, ma'am. You have given your best in any answer, any question. You have written your best answer, but the evaluator who is evaluating that answer may find that many of the points are missing, or any other, or have think of that answer to be written in any specific way, ma'am. So in that case, the points can be given, the marks can be given less. So though the aspirant shouldn't be disheartened by that, ma'am. Rather, I believe, ma'am, one should follow that approach also. For example, if I find that in this answer I have given my best, and this is the best answer that could have been possible, but the evaluator has given me less marks and also have written the remarks like this point can be added or this approach can be also followed. So rather than neglecting that approach, I would assimilate that answer, that approach into my answer, ma'am, and make my answer more holistic in approach. So rather than taking rather than not taking any criticism, take the critical criticism, constructive criticism from the evaluator, which you find that can help you increase your marks. Because the ultimate goal is to have the highest score in the actual exam, not in the PTs of the coaching institutes. So don't be
Oh,
disheartened by scoring low in this. And also, ma'am, in respect to while giving interviews, in many I have given around 11 to 12 mock interviews. In the earlier mock, I was getting a very good feedback, but later on, especially in the man in when especially, ma'am, when I gave my last mock, I got a very negative feedback, but I did not got disheartened, because I always see that if I've given 11 marks, I've gotten a good review out of 11 in 7 marks. It was only around 4 marks in which I did not get a good review. So as a whole, I look at it as a probability that out of 11 times I'm doing 7 times I'm doing good. So one should focus on that part also.
super, super, fine. So, did you stick with the number of questions you have to attend in prelims, like, or you will change based on the question paper toughness in every prelims from the first attempt to third attempt, I'm asking, and also in mock test too?
Ma'am, initially in my initial attempt, I was not able to attempt a high number of questions. Like in 2024 attempt, I attempted around, ma'am, 87 or 89 questions. But it were due to wrong sequencing while marking the OMR. I could not qualify that 2024 attempt. But ma'am, again, ma'am, in 2025 attempt, I resorted to attempting 95 plus questions.
Okay,
So that came with practice, ma'am. So in the 2025 attempt, I attempted around 97 questions, ma'am, in the
okay,
actual
okay.
paper. So, ma'am,
So you have
the
gone.
advantage I think, ma'am, while attempting more question is that, ma'am, you get a leverage of doing extra wrong questions. And also,
Oh,
ma'am, if you are attempting four questions extra, if one question is right and three questions are wrong, then also it neutralizes the overall impact. The net effect is zero. you consider it. But if you are intelligent guessing and have some basic knowledge and then applying it also, if the probability is that you after in that out of 4 questions you are able to correct 2 questions, then you will be in the net positive. So that was my approach while for attempting more questions.
So this worked out from the test series also, right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. It is not something that just by in one time it will be a start giving you results. It is over the period of time. It is not like I was attempting randomly. I have built my static very strong with respect to every subject for economy, for polity, for geography. But however vast, I was like, if I do not know it, then the 99% of the candidates do not know it. That confidence came by reading more and having a strong static base.
Okay, so what are the must read books of standard books for prelims or mains, whatever you will recommend? Must read book, one book means.
Ma'am, I think there's no need to read any book, ma'am. Just focus on any book which you have picked on, any standard book. Like for me, it was my coaching materials. But after that, ma'am, I would say this is the must approach. Solving test race, specifically for geography and subject like this. Because if I've read any standard book or my coaching institute material for geography, then I would solve all the test race with respect to geography as a whole, FLT. Then I will pick the topics and areas which I have missed. Like I do not know this. For example, in tectonic plates, I did not know Carolina plate is where the location among which continents it is located, and Nazca plate. For example, this question is coming and I do not know it. Then I would pick that area and I would add that material in my notes. So this way the validation is done. And the validation does not mean just adding everything, adding the important part. And how would you know that it is important? So the coaching institutes, you do not have the time to read and figure out this is important. The coaching institutes are doing that thing. So just use that, I think.
Super, super. Very good. So, how did you handle the distraction part while preparing? How an aspirant can sort out this?
My thing
What
with
I mean.
respect to ma'am, the distraction part was not very much an issue, ma'am. I think I was able to comfortably ensure that I was not distracted by anything. Ma'am, I think, but some candidates struggle to with it. I think they can do is that, ma'am, they can fix a time. I think, ma'am, because many of my friends were using Instagram and talking to friends and all that, but I was not, ma'am, because I was comfortable in it. But what I see, I looked upon that, ma'am, many of my friends are doing, but they have set a limited time. For example, if they are using Instagram, they would only use it for 30 minutes a day, not more than that, while they're preparing. If they're talking to their any friends, then they're talking in the evening after dinner. For that is the relaxing time. At that time they are talking. It is not like they are calling any time in a day and then talking to any friend. So these things is something which one needs to figure out. If one cannot prepare by talking to any friend or have to use Instagram and all this, they can comfortably do it, but have a limited set of time devoted for this activities. It's not like whenever you feel like you are doing it, follow a schedule and do these activities on that specific time only.
Okay, super. So, any one mantra, the one word will help you, the aspirant community means what will you recommend from your travel of this journey?
Ma'am, two things only comes to my mind, ma'am, which have me. Ma'am, first one is strategy. Don't make any rigid strategy, I would say. Have a flexible strategy because no strategy is perfect. Every strategy needs to be evolved over the time of. So if you are making a strategy for prelims, don't make it too rigid that you are not amending it. Have a flexible strategy which can be evolved for prelim, for mains, for PT. Have a flexible strategy. Second, ma'am, follow a routine. For example, ma'am, if my routine was if I'm waking up at 7 p.m., then within half an hour I would be in my study table. I've been following the toppers. One of the toppers have followed a similar approach, and for me also, ma'am, this was the because morning time is something that is a very calm time. the earlier you start, the better position you are in. So if I'm waking up 7 p.m., then I would be at my study table at 7:30. And after that, ma'am, the time follows in the manner in which I want to. Because if you are following a routine for over a period of time, then naturally your body starts following it. You won't feel comfortable relaxing if that was your time of study. So just do it over the period of time; it will naturally follow.
Okay, sir. So another question, like, did you aim for this UPSC exam only, or you have gone for any other state PSC exams in between? That you felt like a distraction, or the full-fledged preparation is needed for any exam, you think?
Now, I am with the later opinion, ma'am, that for any exam, one should focus full-fledgedly. And I think one should not write any other exam when one is preparing for any exam, and especially with respect to UPSC, ma'am, because UPSC is a very demanding exam. It is not like a static exam, fully a static exam, where you can just mug up all the things and reproduce it in the exam and you will score well, whether it is prelims or mains. You need to devote time, and every exam have a different syllabus, different pattern, and different history. So I think these things needs to be kept in mind while preparing for any other exam. If you for example, for me, ma'am, personally, UPSC was something which I have considered. I have not given prior to any other exam in the last 2 years after my graduation. I've only prepared for UPSC and never filled any other form. But ma'am, I think that was possible for me. For many candidates, the financial background is different. They need financial stability, and many other factors are involved. So I think that job stability is something they look for. So that is also, I think, is a totally correct approach, because every background requires a different approach now. So I think, ma'am, if one is think of having an clearing a state PCS, any state PCS, then going for UPSC on a full-fledged mode, that is also, ma'am, I think, equally right approach, depending on the background from which the person is coming from.
Super, sir. Fine, sir. So thank you so much for your time, and you are so down to earth, and your service will be continued. And we wish you that soon you will become an All India rank in the first and second, like in the single digit rank. And Kingmakers IAS Academy will be guiding you, and us also will be traveling with you in every success path. So all the best, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and
Thank you,
thanks
ma'am.
a lot. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you, sir.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.